Welcome to Romance Unzipped, your happily ever after book club. I'm Holly.
And I'm Annie. We read, write, and obsess about all things romance.
Let's dive in.
Hey!
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone. This is Romance Unzipped podcast.
We are back after a brief summer hiatus.
We had a birthday, school starting,
And summer.
lifing. Yeah, but we read the whole time, as one does, over summer break. We got the hot tip to read Lies of Lena by Kylie Snow. Actually, from my esthetician, heads up, esthetician, because she said, and I quote, "Yearning is my thing." So this is about Lena Delro. I can't say her last name.
Delira.
Delira.
Lena Delira.
She's a 16-year-old young woman who is a mage. She's like a witch, essentially, and has red, fiery hair, pale white skin, and bright, sparkling green emerald eyes. And then the main male character is Silas
Laroon, but we're introduced to him as Quill.
Yes, there's a lot of like hidden identity.
Yes,
So
we know him as Quill for the third half of the book, something like that.
So this young man is also he's 17 maybe? 16 or 17. And he's 6'3", and he's muscular, and he has tawny golden skin and topaz eyes, amber eyes that are just mesmerizing. Black curly hair. He's hunky, you guys.
He's hunky and he's a really good fighter and he's super muscular.
He's just like a fantastic swordsman. I can't believe I winked. That's just wrong. I'm sorry, everybody.
So this book is a fantasy.
A romantasy.
A romantasy, in fact.
And the author, Kylie Snow, dubs it a dark romantasy.
It is dark, so you should be paying attention to the trigger warnings.
Mm-hmm. What are our tropes?
Well, it's got magic. Yes. They have a forbidden love, just based on where their stations are in life. They should not be together. Mm-hmm. But they're also fated for each other.
Yes, the one.
Mm-hmm. And
it's a reverse lovers to enemies.
Yeah, they become lovers pretty quickly. It's not really a slow burn at the start, but then they become enemies, and then the slow burn kicks in.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun twist.
I liked that.
It is the first in a 3-part series. Books 1 and 2 are out, and book 3 is coming out any minute.
It's in September. That's all we know so far. And next week, we're going to be reviewing book 2 in this series.
This is the first time we're doing a series thing. We're in on it, you guys.
So this one does end on a cliffhanger, but you can start the second one right away, and there shouldn't be too much of a wait for the third one, hopefully.
And if you don't want spoilers, wait until we do the second episode, because we are going to spoiler the heck out of this book. Mm-hmm. So we did our tropes. We introduced our characters. We told people the title. What should we... this point of view.
Point of view. This is a first-person past tense. It's mostly all in Lena's point of view, but it is dual point of view. Mm-hmm. Silas comes in sometimes. He probably has...
maybe a quarter.
A quarter of the book.
Which is good. I love getting in that.
Yeah, we get to see his head, but it's clearly her story, just based on the setup of the point of view alone.
Yeah, and then the setting is...
it's this walled city, Otacia, which it feels like a medieval town. The center of the city has the castle and the rich folks, and then the edge of the city is where Lena lives, and it's where all the like poor paupers live.
Yeah. It reminds me of, we were in Tuscany one time in this medieval town called San Geronimo, probably saying it wrong, and it was this walled city up on a hill, and you had these amazing views and the beautiful countryside around. And so this is what I'm picturing in my head. It, like you said, very medieval feeling, but the castle in the center is obsidian. So it's very like, fairy tale-esque in that part. Okay, so then what's our spice level as the last kind of...
It is quite explicit.
Yeah.
We would say probably a 4.
Yeah, it's all body parts doing all the things.
But not too frequent. Maybe a 2 or a 3 out of 5.
Yeah, medium, high heat, infrequently. And check your trigger warnings. There is a host of things you might want to know about. And also the first half of the book, they're both 16 and 17, so if you don't enjoy reading about people who are having sex and they are that age, then this probably isn't the book
You
for
might
you.
want to pick something else.
Yeah. So super quick snapshot. It is this hero's journey. It's actually a lady hero's journey, but I can't say that word.
Heroine.
Yeah, so I just call it a
It's a
hero's
tough one.
journey. And it's Lena's journey through her age and then also her kind of coming into her own as a person with magic, a mage, a witch. So it's across time and geography and relationships that we kind of go with her on this journey. And it ends on a literal cliffhanger. They are sitting at the edge of a cliff at the end.
An interesting thing about this book is it's written in 2 parts.
Yeah.
And they are starkly different. The first half is the 2 of them meeting, falling in love. It has a young adult feel to me, just I think because they're 2 young adults falling in love. And it's very much about a day in the life, looking at the city. There is some action, but it's secondary to the falling in love. The second half of the book is the opposite. It's all action. They just keep coming upon either these battle scenes or it's life and death, and the characters are no longer in love. They hate each other. So it feels like 2 books. And if you're starting to maybe feel that the first half is dragging, just stick it out, because it gets very frenetic. Like the pace of what's happening just ramps up in the second half.
You're saying that, and I was picturing the first half is kind of like a Disney cartoon, not from 20 years ago, but like kind of modern. And then the second half is like a Marvel universe.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like dark and gritty and lots of action and weaponry and so yeah, check your trigger warnings. There's a really violent scene that is like a lot of people had big feelings about it because it's kind of like, whoa, that's a big emphasis on this really specific part. So just check it out.
The reviews for this book were so split. It was a love or hate kind of book.
I'm going to say very Twilight vibes in the writing and also in the polarity of people like obsessed or people like so angry, like really not like, oh, whatever. People are like, 1 star, I'm so mad. I've got to tell everybody I hate BookTok for misleading me. I was like, oh my.
That's part of why we wanted to read it, because I was wondering what is in these pages that can cause this kind of reaction. Part of it, I think a lot of it has to do with the tone in the first half.
Yeah.
So the narrator is Lena, and she's 16, and I think because of that, that lends itself to an immaturity in her narration. And like we said, she has almost the entire narration. I don't think Silas even comes into the book till 35%, as his point of view, 35% in the book. So it's really dominated by her mindset, and she's young and she kind of acts it.
And she thinks it, but also the writing style is...
It's consistent with that.
Yeah, it's like more in the fanfic realm almost, but it's very easy to read and it's enjoyable, and that isn't a negative, but that was definitely, people had feelings about that part of it. And then the second half of the book, the writing feels a bit more evolved, and so not only has she grown, but I wonder if the author maybe wrote it at 2 different time periods too, if like some time had elapsed. Who knows? But in any case, it is like imminently readable. You start and you're just like, whoa, there went hundreds of pages.
I found that same experience.
Yeah.
So at the start, one parallel between these 2 characters that I loved is they both have these secrets. And
dun, dun, dun.
There are spoilers coming up. So Quill, who she falls in love with, she meets him. She's in the inner circle where all the rich people live, delivering something for her mom's business. And she meets this boy, and they both are smitten with each other instantly. And he says, oh, I'm going to train you to fight, because she wants to be able to protect herself. And she said, I'll take you outside of the walls and show you all this beautiful stuff in this pond. And he's clearly interested. You can tell that he's...
new world.
Yes. You can tell he's so sheltered. And they go on this courtship, and he's hiding that he's the prince, and he's sneaking out of the castle just to try to live a little. And she's hiding that she is a mage. And in this setting...
Oh, yeah. I forgot this key part of the trope is this like hierarchical political intrigue and danger.
Right. At the start of the book, if she's found out to be a mage, she'll be banished from the city and kicked out, and everybody hates her.
Yeah, people hate mages.
They hate them. They're the scapegoat for everything. But by the midpoint of the book, when kind of the action really starts, and the main inciting event for her leaving town is that the king says, okay, at this point, all mages, it's kill on sight. If you're discovered to do magic, we're going to murder you.
We're going to murder you. And they do, and they burn the woman.
Yeah, they burn a woman alive.
It's no fun. That's the no fun. And Silas, now no longer Quill, Silas, or his identity has been revealed, so she knows who he is. That transition's already happened, but he's the one who sets the flame, right?
Yeah, his dad is a total dickhole, just the worst kind of leader.
Bad dad.
And Quill, at the beginning of the book, he's kind of a hardened kid, but he's very sweet.
And
he's
has
like compassion,
sensitive. He wants to be part of. I keep thinking of the lyrics from The Little Mermaid and from Aladdin. You know, where he's like wanting to be part of a whole new world.
And
look at this stuff.
He's motivated, right? When they go out for dinner, and well, this is actually something that readers weren't a fan of, but she tells him like, oh yeah, let me get you some pizza, because they're just walking around in her kind of like slum neighborhood at a full moon party or something, and he's never heard of it before.
Pizza?
Because he just has. I mean, he doesn't say this out loud to her, but he's got the royal chefs making him probably like quail or something. And so she goes to a little booth and gets him some pizza, and he is like Ariel, like, oh my God, look at this is so good. And she's just laughing at him like, who's never had pizza before? But that is an example of a seemingly out of context prop within this medieval world. They have, Lena puts on makeup, and her fashion choices and entertainment choices seem to be modern.
Yeah.
But then they don't have hot water, and they have to build their own fire.
Yeah, it is. It's like she has zippers on some of her dresses, but then, they don't have like running water. I'm like,
there is a juxtaposition there. And actually, I will say in book 2, there's a little bit of a hint as to why that is.
Ooh.
But it's just hinted at, and I get the impression in book 3, there'll be even more clues to it. So it would appear that it's not accidental, but it's still driving some people nuts. I just kind of rolled with it and appreciated the way he is so enamored with the seemingly unimpressive parts of like living as a poor person.
Yeah.
Because she's eating pizza because that's all she can afford. He's just excited. Throughout the course of their courtship, we find out that Quill is Silas, the prince. And of course, we know right from the beginning that Lena, that one is actually pretty easy to figure out. But as readers from the first page, we know that Lena is a mage, which that's not cool in their society. So there's this constant theme in the book of keeping secrets. Because even Lena and Silas, they love each other, they trust each other, but they don't dare tell each other these two big secrets. Lena ends up finding out because she follows him home one day because she's just so curious about why he's so secretive. And she even gets all butthurt about the fact that he couldn't be honest with her.
Yeah, she's like, why didn't he trust me? I'm like, look.
At the same time, she's doing the same thing to him. And similarly, when he finally...
As she eats pizza.
She's just shoving it in her face. When he finally realizes what happened when they reunite later in the book, he's also upset with her. Like, wasn't our love strong enough? Why couldn't you be honest with me? And they're both doing the same damn thing.
Classic.
They had very good reasons because it was this forbidden love like we talked about.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the parallel journey that they had, both coming from very different sides of things.
It was a really good setup.
It was a good setup. And she talks in the book a couple of times about, I've got this mask on, I can't make close friends because I can't be myself, so what's the point? Why even bother? And she doesn't even want to have her magic. She's not even honest with herself about it. She refuses to let her mom teach her magic.
Yeah, what was the breaking point? There's something that happens where she's like, fine, I will
She finally agreed. What finally gets her to soften her stance a little bit,
sneaking around,
is she wants a birth control elixir.
She wants to bone.
Yeah, she wants to bone Silas. And so
the great motivator of nations. Sex.
She goes to her mom, and her mom sniffs it out pretty quickly. It's like, wait a second. Like, I know why you have a change of heart. But I liked the mom character, both Lena's mom and Silas's mom. They
The
both
queen is Silas's mom.
yes, and she's the best character in the book. She is just like
She's
so
fabulous.
awesome. She's just very generous and gracious
She's like
and
Princess
beautiful.
Diana.
Yes, and she meets a very untimely death.
Yeah, she's
Unfortunately.
assassinated, guys.
That's right at the midway point of the book. It's what causes all this tumult, this change in the.
And I'm just going to interject. The king is the one that finds her assassinated with her like trusted, loyal handmaiden, and he accuses the handmaiden of being a witch.
And he's the only witness.
Yeah, and
right?
so this lady's the one that's killed, and then he puts a kill order on all mages, anyone who practices magic within the kingdom. But I feel it's very obvious that he killed the queen and set this lady up, and I think it's because he found out paternity results. Mm-hmm. That's my guess. He's mad.
Well, and plus he's just evil.
He's also bad. He's a bad dad who's mad.
Yes. Ooh, that's like Dr. Seuss right there. I like that. So I like these two moms. They're both strong characters, and they also serve as the main friend, mentor, confidant for both of these main characters. And what was so nice about this book is how honest they were with their confidants. At the very beginning, Lena is lying to her mom a little bit, but quickly she spills the beans and she says, oh, there's this guy and I'm falling in love and he's in the inner circle, and she tells her everything. And as she is working through things and she finds out that Quill is Silas, is the prince, and as she's coming to terms with all these problems, she's very forthcoming with her mom. And usually that is not the case.
Yeah, the mom is not positioned as the confidant unless it's a kind of odd young parent, inappropriate like bestie scenario.
Right, like some sort of enmeshment going on. And even more so than that she's confiding in her mom, she's being so honest with herself in order to come to these realizations and articulate them out loud. So we talked earlier that sometimes she comes off as a little mature or immature, but in terms of her own like reading her thoughts and how she's feeling, she's got some wisdom.
Yeah.
And Silas was kind of the same way. He was very honest with his mom. He clearly can't talk to his dad about anything, the crazy evil king. But his mom is the person. He tells her, I've fallen in love with this girl from like a peasant from the Outer Ring. And the mom is doing all she can to accommodate him.
Yeah, she wants him to be happy and in love, and she facilitates him doing this. So there's these like secret identities and also fated growing into who you're going to be. Like he is fated to be the king, and he's already set up to hate her kind, and she's fated to be a mage and like have this life that is contradictory to his. And then the mom has a big secret. So
Lena's mom.
Yeah, Lena's mom. She doesn't know Lena doesn't know her dad, just that the mom had to run away because she was in love, madly in love with this man, and he didn't know that she was a mage. And so Lena's mom was afraid that
when he found out she got pregnant, she didn't know if her daughter would be magical or not, because in the construct of this book, mages and humans can have babies, but you don't know which genetics are going to rule and whether or not they'll be magical.
Right. And the guy didn't know that the mom was magical.
Mage.
And so she hit the road running with her little magic baby. So Lena grew up life on the run, but also with this like mythical love of her mom, but also this like you even love can't transcend the fear people have about mages. So then
in essence, she's reliving her mom's story.
Yeah, classic. So and then Torin, who's one of Silas's like soldier buddies.
He's a guard. He's like a really high up mentor,
he's kind of his
guard.
mentor, and he sort of facilitates Silas sneaking out, and he has a secret. Turns out he's a mage, and he starts communicating with Lena, and he is telepathic, so he can communicate in her mind.
Yeah, the fun thing about these mages, so they each have a special magical skill, and some are much more useful or impressive than others. Right. So some of the magic only comes about through extreme emotional I think they're all bad emotions actually, but if you go through sorrow or anger or despair, then one of these elemental magics will like appear in your moment of.
Electricity comes from big love.
Oh, that's right. Electricity was love.
Yeah.
But then so those are the elemental magics. There's like fire, ice, electricity. And so she doesn't have those skills. Well, she hardly has any skills at the beginning of the book because she hasn't trained for it because she's trying to just ignore that part of her. But even as her mom starts teaching her how to make the elixirs and how to do some things, she doesn't have this elemental magic yet because she hasn't gone through the life experiences that would unlock them.
Yeah.
But aside from that, then they also have these innate skills that are different from one person to the next. So Torin, this mentor, he's got the ability to telepathically communicate with people, which seems like a pretty big one.
Pretty sweet.
Yeah. And she doesn't know what her skills are going to be yet.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's just a lot of this thread of people having dual identities that emerge at different points in the book. And I thought it was really interesting. Right before we recorded this, so I've read book 1 and I stopped. Usually I'm a binge reader, and I stopped on the cliff with Lena and Silas, so I wouldn't get into book 2 and I would just be in book 1. But I did go and read about the author, Kylie Snow, and she first started with video games, and she said she really loved playing video games and like world building fantasy mythical video games, and I didn't recognize any of them because
That's not your bag?
I ended at like 9 with Mario Brothers and Nintendo, but obviously it's advanced past that. So she named things like Rules of Rose. I don't know any of these, but I get the feeling that it is similar, and that made sense to me in the context of reading the book, because it's like world build like a world video game. You know, this like you go on this hero's journey with this person, and the first half of the book kind of feels like a video game in the sense of, I don't mean Mario Brothers, but in how I understand these really intricate multiplayer worlds to be. And as you go, it kind of like grows, but I think there's a ton of world building that happens. So I kind of feel like that informed that, and maybe also the tone of it was more youthful because of that. I don't know, but it was really easy to dive into her fantastical world. It was
very readable.
It was very readable. It was like Twilight in that sense, where you're just like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? What's next? Oh my gosh. And things keep unfolding. So it felt like her hero's journey through this, but then with some sex and some danger and violence thrown in. So
one fun thing for me about stepping into these different subgenres that I don't usually read is every time I read a story, I don't have context for what the subgenre rules usually are.
Yeah.
So to me, it just feels like the author has come up with all of this completely on her own.
Yeah.
And it's stunning. And then sometimes I'll go back and read more from that subgenre and realize like, oh, these are just like common constructions that everybody
like what?
might expect. Just like within the magical world, it's very possible, I recognize, that the way they develop magic, the elemental magic, things like that, maybe that's common for all of these.
We don't know.
I don't know. Maybe she came up with all of this entirely on her own. It's kind of a fun game where I get to just assume she's the most creative person in the world. And with the vampire, we read Hot Blooded a couple months ago.
Yeah.
It was the same shtick where I didn't have any context to compare the book to, so every single idea and element that she brought forth was like a brand new thing that Heather Gare taught me. And so it's kind of like imbuing these meta ideas that exist within the entire genre all into one author. They feel like super women.
Insert Little Mermaid song lyric here.
Yes, it is a whole new world.
So, side note, addendum on the topic of vampires, Holly has not read Twilight, so she really has no context for vampires. She was not part of that cultural phenomenon. I thought was really cool and interesting about this book, where you said that she is so honest with herself, is in almost every romance novel, denial is one of the devices of like creating angst and yearning and conflict, and there's no denial. Like everyone, they're secretive, but no one's lying to themselves.
Yes, they're secretive for a reason, generally because they're trying to save their lives.
Yeah, but there's none of this internal grinding that happens with the denial of like, I hate him, but my dick loves him, you know, where like,
or you read it and you're like, girl, come on.
you want him. So that was really interesting. And also, this is part of the fantasy, I think, of all romance, especially if it's like a male, female, and for female readers, or for, let me retract that, for anyone, the main protagonist of the book generally has multiple people interested in them. And for me, that's part of like the fun and escapism of reading romance is you're like, oh my gosh, you're like the flower and all the bees want the honey.
They have all these options, but they just pick you only.
Yeah, no, or she's the flower in this. And so everyone loves Lena in this book, which is like in romance, right? And so Torrin falls in love with her. Roland falls for her. I feel like Merrick is going to have some feelings for her.
Well, he certainly did in the past. They mentioned that these are characters that we meet in the second half of the book when she flees. She goes to this new town. Yeah. And now there's a new host of characters, and it seems like all the men about her age
really want to get
like
in
her.
her tunic. And it's fun because she is kind of very tempted, which is interesting because romance books usually they're like, this is my one love, I'm in love with Silas, that's it. But she's like, God, he smells good, and he's like sniffing my neck, and I'm like, maybe something will happen, and then there'll be an interruption, and she's like, oh. And that is also a little different.
Even when it was still in the first half and she's completely in love with Silas, there's no chance at that point that they are going to stray from each other. She meets Torrin, and you can see in her internal thoughts, she's like, ooh, he's so good looking and he's so charming. And they're at some ball and they dance together. And she's like, kind of like, oh, damn. And then she realizes he's reading her mind.
Ooh.
Which, bummer. But that really stood out to me because she's not cheating on Silas. And even in her own brain, she says, oh, I got to stop this. Like, I need to kind of avoid this guy a little bit because I think he's so charming and handsome.
Yeah.
But most romance novels don't acknowledge this thing that people have inside of them where, yeah, I'm committed to this person and I'm in love with them.
I'm choosing them.
I am choosing them in my day-to-day actions, but at the same time, this other guy just danced with me at a ball and he's really attractive.
Yeah.
So she has those thoughts.
Soldier of the Royal Guard, he's hot, you guys. Mm-hmm. He's dancing with me, he smells good.
So she acknowledges those feelings as well, and it's not, I don't even think she's particularly threatened by them. She just kind of feels them. But in the second half of the book, we said it goes from lovers to enemies. Well, she flees and she sets a fire to her house to make it look like she died.
Fakes her death.
Fakes her own death.
With a corpse.
And they are able to conjure up like a fake corpse as part of their magical skills. Her mom is a much better mage than she is. So they wanted it to really look like they were dead so that Silas wouldn't follow and look for her. So he thinks she's dead.
He mourns.
He does.
Was ready to lay it all on the line.
We end up finding out what he went through after he had just lost his mom. And
I don't know yet. It's book 2.
Lena, it's like, poor guy really went through the ringer. So when they see each other, there's just a time jump. It's 5 years later. He is so overcome with emotion because he is still in love with her, but he already mourned her. And then he just hates her for
breaking his heart and being a witch.
Yeah, she's a witch. She faked her own death. She totally broke his heart. Like, there's just all of these emotions at play. And in her case, she's still in love with him, but she heard through just news, whatever the gossip of medieval magic town is, that he got married to a princess after a couple of years, which...
Fair.
You know, he sort of had to as a prince, but also his true love was dead.
And it was 4 years after her death, which I felt like it was an intentional choice, so we could all be like, oh, he just... And I love the princess's name. It's Arabella, but it's spelled Arabella, which I just really liked it, Arabella. And they call her Era.
And Lena says this a lot, speaking of not being in denial and having some self-introspection. She says, I really want to hate Arabella. She's everything that I don't want. She's the one that married my man. And she can't. Every time Arabella interacts with her or says something, she's like, man, I would be her friend.
Really nice.
She's pretty cool. She's really nice. So she's kind of caught in the crosshairs. And both Silas and Lena recognize that, and they're very concerned about not hurting Era.
So, of interest, maybe to no one, but it's interesting to me, Hollie and I get our book recommendations from the wilds of the internet, but neither of us is on BookTok. And I feel like that is the source of most people's book finding inspiration. But I think we're a combination of Reddit, which is so great for romance novel finding. There's so many great subreddits. The library, bookstores.
Goodreads.
Goodreads. And then like trolling things on digital subscription reading platforms. So, like a lot of the buzz, we don't really know about it aside from Reddit, I think, because mostly I just look at covers and then read the blurb. Mm-hmm. So, the way that I found out about this book was my waxer. And she asked me if I had any hobbies. Well, I had my appointment, and I told her I love to read romance. And then we started talking about romance, and she said, oh my God, I love to read romance. And right now she's addicted to this book. And I was like, well, I have to read it. And she goes, yeah, I love it. There's so much angst. She's like, yearning is my thing. And I was like, dang it, I need a shirt that says that. I need a bumper sticker that says that. And so we had to read it. And it was interesting because this book for me was more of like an action journey book than like an emotional yearning book. But that was just me. And I also read a huge range of books. And also I read a lot of like hurt comfort books where there's like the angst. But that, for me, yearning is like when I like feel it in the center of my chest, that like pang of like, oh no, they're not together, you know?
They should be together.
Yeah.
I will say book 2 has a tremendous amount of yearning.
Oh.
So she might have been kind of thinking of the whole series that she's read so far as one entity.
Bet that's it.
Because as I described, the two main characters are in their own worlds now because 5 years passed and he married someone else. So then Lena ends up kind of getting with other men because Silas is not available, but then they know that these two are fated together because they're all in the magical world, so they understand this connection.
What do they call it? Like a soul tie.
A soul tie.
It's like the twin flame.
So there's just all of these different directions that love is going.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna yearn book 2.
So the yearning is not just between the two of them. There's like yearning from this person this way and this way, and it's like the spider web. Yeah, it is. It's the multiverse of yearn.
Ooh, okay.
So that might be where she was coming from.
I bet it was because she was very much more aware and immersed in the world. But I was just thinking about like how do authors write? How do they write to evoke that actual physical reaction in my chest? You know, like what is it? And I think different things pull those heartstrings for different people, but it is a skill to be able to just like have me feel so much that I will cry, or I'll be like,
I can feel it and tell when I'm reading it, but I can't articulate what it is. It's just something I can notice when it happens.
Yeah.
Which it would be nice to be able to articulate what it is so we could try to replicate it.
Yes, because we are writing a romance novel. We're actually in our second draft. It's really fun. But that is part of it, is like, how do you create this chemistry and emotion between characters so that readers care, you know? And like, I think Kylie Snow is pulling it off because the internet is aflame with yearning.
The setup for how these two get back together after the fake death and all that
it's a great device.
Is pretty exciting. So she's just hanging out in this new town that she's moved to, and it's a town just full of mages. It's on the like other side of the continent. Yeah. And life is good, and all of a sudden, like all these soldiers roll into town, and they're just killing everybody. And they're on a mission to capture a bunch of mages and drag them back to the capital city so they can get executed, I guess. And they've got these magic handcuffs that when they put them on, it like shuts off the magic of the mages. So lo and behold, who's in charge of this band of soldiers but Silas? And all the other character soldiers that we met as side characters in the first half of the book, they are also in his little army troop. Yeah. Which is kind of fun. So they show up and they're
like hardened and
just
battle worn.
Absolute assholes, just killing everybody.
And he's covered in tattoos and he has a big scar down his face, of course making him ever more handsome and rugged. And he's just this like grown, hard, cold version of this boy that she knew, and there's nothing in there.
Yes, like his eyes are dead.
And they call him Silas the Witch Slayer, or Slayer of Witches.
Yeah, he's
That's brutal.
notorious for how deadly he is.
Yeah.
And so he comes into town, and the mages are trying to fight back, and Silas like raises up, and he goes to kill Lena, I think, and one of the other witches is about to. Well, she's turned into a tiger or something. She's about to kill him, and Lena puts out her own magical force field thing to protect Silas. So right from the get-go, when they see each other, they both are protecting each other. They hate each other, and they're still not separated from these roles that they're living in, and yet they can't help it. They're protecting each other.
He's like on top of her, gonna kill her, and he's like,
and
Lena.
He can't, he stops.
And then the shifter comes to kill him, and she protects him, and everyone's like, what?
Yeah, why did you do that?
So it is an excellent setup.
It is. So she and all the other mages get these handcuffs on them, so they're powerless, and they're being led on this like death march back to Otacia. And through the course of this march home, events happen where
they team up.
They team up together because it becomes evident that the soldiers are in mortal danger, and only the magic of the mages can help them. And Silas and Lena, even though their headspace is all over the place, they come to an agreement. And Silas says, well, I have my own reasons. You know, I want to overthrow my dad. So I'm not doing this for you or because I'm a good person. Like, I'm doing this selfishly because I think I can, if I have the support of the mages, I can overthrow my dad. And Lena, to her credit, she's now like the leader of this whole town that she was in and this group of mages.
The Supreme.
She is the Supreme. She was, the old Supreme got killed by Silas in this big battle, and he named her the Supreme as he's dying. So they both have compelling reasons to team up, and they do. And slowly over the course of their journey and through these dangerous situations they find themselves in, the soldiers keep letting the mages exercise more and more magical power. And so they keep like unlocking more handcuffs. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed the shift. These soldiers are like the best of the best, total badasses.
Weaponry, armor,
yeah, they
war
can kill
horses.
everyone. They're all tattooed up. And the mages are the scapegoat that they hate and are worthless. And throughout the course of their journey, this shift happens where the soldiers are not the best fighters. The mages are more powerful. They can employ electricity and fire and ice and all of these things to be even more powerful. And I enjoyed watching the soldiers kind of get put in their place a little bit.
Yeah, well, and it's also the mages are using the powers they have for good. Like, they're helping protect the soldiers. They heal the soldiers who've been hurt. They save them. So it's like these people that are trying to kill them, they still use their power to help and show them kindness. So also it's like a power shift, but it's not like power shift and I'm gonna stomp on you.
Right. Not all the mages are
gung-ho,
feeling so compassionate towards the soldiers. Some of them are saying, Lena, what are you doing? Like, let's just kill them.
Yeah.
But she is so compelled to protect Silas because of this soul tie. I mean, it's fated. That's apparent.
What are you gonna do? I mean, and we'll just leave it on this cliffhanger. It's been said that he is the one that is going to save
all of Magekind.
So and he doesn't know, but Lena knows. The seer has told her, so she's kind of imbued with this knowledge that I love him and I want to protect him, but also it's kind of written in the stars that if I don't protect him, he's the one that's going to save all of us.
There's all these little pieces of prophecies and fate and pieces of information that the seer, like the prophet, well, I was going to say prophetess, but it's a man. But
a propheto.
Prophetor? I don't know what he's called. He's
just
the seer.
The prophet.
Oh yeah, the prophet. So he spits out little bits of information, and how it always is in these setups, nobody knows what it means. It's all in code. It's like reading.
More will be revealed.
More will be revealed later. So they get these pieces of information. They don't know what they mean, and then after something happens, it's like, oh, that's what that meant. So she knows a little bit about what's happening, but she doesn't understand why. And Silas knows even less because it's not like everyone's told him the secrets of the mages.
No, he is an unsuspecting, powerful pawn.
So as the second half of the book unfolds, they're about to start this journey. Well, they're already on a journey, but they're going to start an even bigger one to try to go save all the mages and overthrow the evil king. And, you know, they have these very lofty goals, and it's going to require trekking through the continent and finding people to become allies on their side. And there's also some kind of weird third-party magic that's like even more powerful than the mages, that's like raising people from the dead and attacking them all.
Yeah, you got to have like a new bad guy.
Right, exactly. A new bad guy, because now they're kind of a united front. And so that's the scene is being set for all of that. So the magic side of things,
it picks up.
It does pick up. So if you like the fantasy part of the romantasy, that comes in really big time in the second half and in the second book in particular.
Or the fantasy.
Some may call it fantasy.
They don't know though. I read fantasy. That's so good. And the magic is fun and it's accessible and it feels like you're part of it. Like you get caught up in it. So it is, it's so easy to read. Like it's a flow along. So, Okay, so give us a hook for book 2, Holly.
Okay, I feel like I just did that for the last half an hour, but
why don't you say
your hook is book 1, which we just talked about.
That's your hook.
I will say about book 1 and 2, the transition from where one book ends and the next starts is immediate. She's not spending pages like, oh, remember, this is our main character. Like, she came from here. It's just, you just pick right up where you left off. So I might not wait a long time between reading the two.
Yeah. It's meant to be. I think Twilight was like that too, where you're just like, boom, boom. We know you're going to binge it. It's like a Netflix series.
Right, exactly. We're going to be releasing them once a week. Good luck. You might want to wait till the end if you don't have the patience to just simmer while we wait for the next one to come out.
So next week we're going to talk about book 2.
The next one is called Sins of Silas.
Yeah.
It is even darker, and there were a couple times I was reading it where I kind of was like, oh, damn, I can't believe she went there. So if this book feels a little much and it's kind of making you squirmy, I would not continue on.
Do not go to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked at the cover of book 2, and she looks like Jessica Rabbit, and she's wearing a Jessica Rabbit outfit, and I was like, oh man, I don't know if that was on purpose, but I'm a big fan of Jessica Rabbit's work.
I didn't feel that vibe while reading it.
I don't think it is part of the book at all.
The cover art, I can see where you're going with that.
Totally unrelated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So read with us along if you want to talk about or read about the next book. That's what we'll be covering next week.
Okay. Thanks for joining us.
Goodbye, everybody.
Happily ever after.